So one of the first things I learned when I was studying herbal medicine, and I remember my teacher telling me this story, was of how he went to a friend's house. And as he was standing there waiting to be let in, he looked at the garden, as often I find as herbalists we tend to do, is just kind of look at the garden. And he noticed that around the very pristine and maintained part of her garden, there were loads and loads of different weeds. And he related it to being something quite funny. He said, oh, you know, it's amazing how nature will always find its way back. Even in our man-made control, it will always find its way back, almost like it's finding its way back into a balance. And so he continued that day with his friend, and the conversation of health came up, and she mentioned to him that she was experiencing different levels of like bloatedness and a little bit of swelling in her legs. And she kind of asked for his advice and just said, look, I've tried everything, you know, what can you recommend? And he listened to the whole story. He got the whole picture of what she was presenting with. And he said, you know what? There's one herb that just keeps on coming back into my mind as you're talking. And I think it would be absolutely perfect for you. It would be perfect for all of the causes of what's causing the symptoms. It would be perfect for your temperament. It will be absolutely perfect. And he took her to the front garden. And he showed her all the weeds that were growing around this maintained part of her garden. He said, do you know what these weeds are? And she said, no. And in fact, she said, the amount of times that we've tried to get rid of them, we've pulled them out from the roots, but they just keep growing back. They just keep on coming back. So now I've just learnt to live with them. And maybe what I might try and do later on in the year is to maybe spray them. And he said, no. This weed is actually a herb that is perfect for everything that you've mentioned. Absolutely perfect for everything that you've mentioned. And he advises to take the leaves and to take the flower heads, the yellow flower heads and the leaves. And he said to her to make a tea or to make a smoothie and to drink that daily. And alhamdulillah, she felt much better over the period of a couple of weeks. But as he related this story, I couldn't help just having this repetition of, with every illness, Allah sends a remedy. With every illness, Allah sends a remedy. And in this case, Allah sent that remedy right to the front door. And it just made me realize the importance of not only recognizing the remedies that Allah is sending to us, but then to also recognize our need and our places and those spaces and gaps of our healing and our need for healing, the moments of imbalance. And as we move from a lockdown into a post-lockdown, it just reminds me that all of the collective grief, the collective anger, the collective loss, and this need for collective healing is so desperately needed. It's so, so desperately needed. And number one is our acknowledgement of that. And not to kind of bypass it with, oh no, we need to get back to normal, but to really acknowledge and recognize the need in our communities to heal. And number two is to recognize where Allah is sending those remedies, where Allah is sending that remedy for us, whether that be in the plants, whether that be in nature, in the fragrances, in the sound, in the movements, or whether that be in the form of people. And we know that the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ his name is just a remedy. Muhammad ﷺ is just a remedy. And we know of how the companions would relate, just looking upon his face was enough to bring healing to their hearts. And so whenever we do find ourselves in a space of illness, in a space of imbalance, in a space of dis-ease, is to remember in those moments to also look for the remedy. Because with every illness, Allah sends an opportunity for healing, and He sends a remedy.